everybody. Hey, welcome back to All About That Disney Life. I am Danny B, the girl who's all about that Disney life. The next movie we move on to is Aladdin, which came out in 1992. So let's get to know this amazing cast. Scott Wagner was the talking voice for Aladdin. Brad Kane was Aladdin's singing voice. The late and great Robin Williams played the genie, and he was also the peddler in the opening scene. And Bruce Alder provided the singing voice for the peddler. Linda Larkin was the talking voice of Jasmine, while Leah Salong was the singing voice for Jasmine. Jonathan Freeman was Jafar. Frank Welker provided the voices for Abu, Raja, and the Cave of Wonders. Also, the late and great Gilbert Gottfried provided the voice of Iago. Douglas Seal was the voice of the Sultan. Jim Cummings was Razul. Charlie Adler was Gazim. And Corey Burton was Prince Ahmed. Now we move on to the facts all about the street rat who stole a princess's heart. Number 1, script and development. In 1988, lyricist Howard Ashman suggested the idea of an animated musical version of Aladdin. He wrote a 40-page film treatment remaining faithful to the plot and characters of the original story. He pictured it as a campy 1930s style musical with a Cab Calloway / Fats Waller like genie. Ashman, along with Alan Menken, wrote several songs and added original characters like Aladdin's friends named Babkak, Omar, and Kazim to the story. But Michael Eisner didn't think a story set in the Middle East would be commercially appealing, so the project was removed from active production. Linda Wolverton used their treatment and developed a draft with inspired elements from the 1940 The Thief of Baghdad, such as the villain named Jafar. She also added an aged sidekick retired human thief named Abu and a human handmaiden for the princess. Another version was written as a screenplay, and then a story reel was delivered to the studio chief in April of 1991. The studio chief thought the script didn't engage and demanded that the entire story be rewritten without rescheduling the movie's release date. Number 2, the rewrite. Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio were in charge to rewrite the story, and there were changes. They removed Aladdin's mom, they strengthened the character of Princess Jasmine, and they deleted several of Ashman and Menken's songs. Aladdin's personality was rewritten to be a little rougher, like a young Harrison Ford. Iago was going to be an uptight British archetype and was reworked into a comic role after the filmmakers saw Gilbert Gottfried in the 1987 movie Beverly Hills Cop 2. By October of 1991, everyone was happy with the new version of Aladdin. Like Wolverton's screenplay, several characters and plot elements were based on The Thief of Baghdad, but the location of the movie was changed from Baghdad to the fictional Arabian city, Agrabah. Number 3, the box office. A big promotion campaign preceded Aladdin's debut in theaters, with the movie's trailer being attached to most Disney VHS releases and numerous tie-ins and licensees being released. The movie was released on November 11th, 1992 in 2 theaters, the EI Capitan Theater in Los Angeles and the City Cinemas 1, 2, and 3rd Avenue in New York City. It made over $196,000 in its first 5 days. The movie expanded to 1,131 theaters on November 25th, 1992, making $19.2 million for the weekend, finishing second at the U.S. box office behind Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. It took 8 weeks for the movie to surpass Beauty and the Beast as the most successful animated Disney film at the domestic box office at the time. For its 8th week of release, the movie made $15.6 million and reached the number 1 spot at the box office, beating A Few Good Men. By February 1993, it would go on to beat Batman Returns to become the highest-grossing 1992 movie domestically. In the United States, the movie held the top spot for 5 times weekly and breaks the record for the week between Christmas and New Year's Eve with $32.2 million during its 22-week run. Aladdin was the most successful movie of 1992, making $217 million in the United States and $504 million worldwide. Outside the United States and Canada, the movie made $200 million in 1993 and $250 million by January 1994. In Europe, the movie beat Jurassic Park, becoming number 1 at the box office, and it set an opening weekend record in South Africa. Number 4, the awards. Like all the other great movies I have mentioned, the awards and nomination list was kind of long for this movie, so we're just going to do the awards that this movie has won. So we'll start off at the Academy Awards. Aladdin won for Best Original Score, and A Whole New World won for Best Original Song. Next up, the Annie Awards. Aladdin won for Best Animated Feature. Next up, the ASCAP Film and Television Awards. Aladdin won for Top Box Office Films. And A Whole New World won for Most Performed Songs from Motion Pictures. Next up, the BMI Film and TV Awards. Aladdin won the Film Music Award, and A Whole New World won for Most Performed Songs from a Film. Next up, the Dallas-Fort Worth Film Critics Association Awards. Aladdin won for Best Animated Film. It won for Best Original Score, and A Whole New World won for Best Original Song. Robin Williams won a Special Achievement Award. Next up, the Golden Reel Awards. Aladdin won for Best Sound Editing for an Animated Feature. It also won a Golden Screen Award. Next up, the Grammy Awards. A Whole New World won for Song of the Year, and A Whole New World won for Best Pop Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocals. Aladdin also won for Best Musical Album for Children. It won for Best Instrumental Composition written for a motion picture or for television. A Whole New World won for Best Song written specifically for a motion picture or for television. Next up, the ICG Publicists Awards. Aladdin won the Maxwell Weinberg Publicist Showmanship Award. Next up, the Los Angeles Film Critics Association Awards. Aladdin won for Best Animation. Next up, the MTV Movie Awards. Robin Williams won for Best Comedic Performance. Next up, the Online Film and Television Association Awards. Aladdin has been inducted in the Hall of Fame for Motion Picture. Next up, the Saturn Awards. Aladdin won for Best Fantasy Film. Robin Williams won for Best Supporting Actor. Scott Wagner won for Best Performance by a Younger Actor. Next up, the Southeastern Film Critics Association Awards. Aladdin took third place for Best Picture. And lastly, the Young Artist Awards. Aladdin won Outstanding Family Entertainment of the Year. Number 5, The Ride. We do have a few rides at the Disney parks. So we have the Magic Carpets of Aladdin. It's similar to the Dumbo, the Flying Elephant ride, and this one is at Walt Disney World. The ride at Magic Kingdom opened on May 24th, 2001. This version features spitting camel statues that were originally a parade float element from the Aladdin's Royal Caravan Parade. Much of the surrounding area took on an Arabian theme, with nearby gift shops being converted into the Agrabah Bazaar. There is also this kind of ride at Disneyland Paris, which opened on March 16, 2002, but it's called the Flying Carpets over Agrabah. The ride is set against a large movie set backdrop of Agrabah. This ride is also at Tokyo Disney Resort, but it's called Jasmine's Flying Carpets, and it opened on July 18th, 2011. Number 6, the musical. We got another Disney musical, and I have not seen this musical, but I have seen videos, and this is pretty amazing. In November of 2010, Alan Menken confirmed that a musical was in the works with a book written by Chad Begulin. In 2012, productions of the musical played at the Tuacahn Amphitheater in Ivins, Utah from June to October of 2012, and at the Money in St. Louis in July of 2012. The show had its European premiere in Denmark on October 4th, 2012 at Frederica Theater in Frederica, and was moved to the Copenhagen Opera House on July 19th, 2013. It was staged in Manila at the Marico Theater in 2012. It was staged in Spanish in Bogota, Colombia in 2013. It had a pre-Broadway tryout at the Ed Mirvish Theater in Toronto, Ontario, Canada from November 2013 to January 2014. It premiered on Broadway on February 26, 2014 in previews and opened on March 20th, 2014 at the New Amsterdam Theater. On March 12, 2020, the show was suspended due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and it resumed performances on September 28, 2021, and it's still going on to this day. Number 7, the live show. It was called Disney's Aladdin, a Musical Spectacular. It was a Broadway-style show. It was at Disney California Adventure, and it took place in the 2,000-seat Hyperon Theater located at the end of Hollywood Lane. This was a 45-minute show. Alan Menken composed and wrote lyrics for a new song for the show called To Be Free. It opened in 2003. The show was popular for 13 years because while most of the show was scripted, Genie's dialogue was constantly updated to reflect current events in the news and cultural trends. The show initially opened with Fast Pass, but was discarded after a few months. It would be reinstated in the final month of the show. Disney originally announced that the show was going to be replaced by a Toy Story musical, with Aladdin closing in 2010. But because of a variety of reasons, Aladdin was extended to an open-ended run, with Toy Story being shelved. 5 years later, Disney announced its closure to make way for Frozen, live at the Hyper Run, which happened on January 10th, 2016. Number 8, the attraction. It's called Aladdin and Jasmine's Storytell Adventures. It's a 20-minute show that takes place in Aladdin's Oasis, located in Adventureland next to the Tiki Room at Disneyland. It is presented several times a day on weekends. The show begins with apprentice storyteller Kazim introducing master storyteller Kazum, who emerges from the Cave of Wonders in a cloud of smoke. As Kazum begins to tell his story, Aladdin and Jasmine also appear on stage to play their parts. Kazum plays multiple roles like the narrator, the genie, and a squeaky gate. Several kids are chosen from the audience to play the parts of Jafar and the palace guards, and the audience is called upon to provide some sound effects as well. Number 9, where can we find these characters? Well, sit back and relax. We got another long list, and here we go. We'll start off with Aladdin and at Disneyland. Aladdin can be seen in It's a Small World at Disneyland Park. In Disneyland's Fantasmic, Aladdin and Jasmine have a brief segment when they sing A Whole New World. They are later seen during the finale on board the Mark Twain riverboat. Aladdin also appears in the daily Mickey's Sensational Parade, starring in his own float as Prince Ali. Along Main Street, USA, Aladdin is featured in the Enchanted Window display based on his movie. Aladdin makes notable appearances in the original version of World of Color in Disney California Adventure. He first appears in the middle of the show singing A Whole New World with Jasmine, followed by a performance by Genie. Next park, Walt Disney World. In Florida, Aladdin appears alongside Jasmine singing A Whole New World towards the end of Mickey's Filler Magic. He also has a spell card known as Aladdin's Lamp in the attraction Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom and appears several times throughout the Happily Ever After fireworks show. Aladdin also appears on the water projectors during the Princess Theme medley and makes a live appearance aboard the Steamboat Willie riverboat in the Disney's Hollywood Studio version of Fantasmic. For meet and greets, Aladdin makes appearances in Fantasyland at Magic Kingdom and the Morocco Pavilion in Epcot. Next park, Tokyo Disney Resort. In Tokyo Disney Sea's version of Fantasmic, Aladdin appears on the screen during the Princess Theme medley and again during the finale along with Jasmine and Abu. In Sinbad's Storybook Village, Aladdin appears alongside Jasmine on Sinbad's map. For meet and greets in the park, he can sometimes be found at the Arabian coast. Aladdin also appears in the opening and closing segments of Once Upon a Time at Tokyo Disneyland, unleashing Genie from the lamp in the former and riding carpet with Jasmine in the latter. He and Jasmine also appear on the Aladdin-themed floats in the Happiness is Here parade and Tokyo Disneyland Electrical Parade Dreamlights. Next park, Disneyland Paris. In Adventureland, Aladdin is promptly featured in the walk-through attraction Le Passage Enchanté d'Aladdin. In Fantasyland, he dances with Jasmine and other princes and princesses in the starlit Princess Waltz. Next park, Hong Kong Disneyland. Aladdin appears alongside Jasmine and Genie during the latter's performance of Friend Like Me in Mickey and the Wondrous Book. Aladdin is also featured prominently alongside Jasmine and Carpet in Disney in the Stars. Next park, Shanghai Disneyland. In Shanghai, Prince Ali appears in the Golden Fairy Tale Fanfare Show in front of Enchanted Storybook Castle. Aladdin is also featured in the Aladdin display in Voyage to the Crystal Grotto. And on board the Disney Cruise Line, Aladdin, a musical spectacular, continues to be performed aboard the Disney Fantasy Cruise Ship. Next character is Jasmine. We'll go back to Disneyland, California. In Fantasmic, Jasmine and Aladdin appear riding carpet as they sing A Whole New World. In the World of Color at Disney California, Jasmine makes a notable appearance during Aladdin's sequence. She and Aladdin sing A Whole New World as well as its reprise. For meet and greets, Jasmine can be found in Adventureland and at Royal Hall at the Disneyland Park. Next park, Walt Disney World. In Magic Kingdom, Jasmine has her own spell card known as Jasmine's Magic Carpet Tassels of Fury in the Magic Kingdom attraction Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. At the same park, she makes a brief appearance in the final sequence of Celebrate the Magic. In Mickey's Filler Magic, Jasmine appears alongside Aladdin and Iago. In the show, Donald Duck enters the world of Aladdin in search of Mickey Mouse's sorcerer hat. When Donald enters the world of Aladdin, Jasmine and Aladdin are in the middle of singing A Whole New World. After the song, Jasmine kindly gives Donald the hat back. For meet and greets, Jasmine makes appearance near the Magic Carpets of Aladdin attraction in Magic Kingdom's Adventureland. A portrait of Jasmine can also be seen in the Princess Fairy Tale Hall. Jasmine also makes appearances at the Morocco Pavilion in Epcot's World Showcase. Due to her redesigned appearance, she is one of the few Disney princesses that does not have a winter version of her attire to wear during the colder months while interacting with guests. Jasmine is seen in the water projectors with Aladdin in Disney's Hollywood Studios version of Fantasmic during the princess-themed medley. Jasmine also appears riding either Steamboat Willie or the Mark Twain Riverboat in the finale. Next park, Tokyo Disney Resort. In the Tokyo Disney Sea version of Fantasmic, Jasmine appears during the finale alongside Prince Ali. For meet and greets, Jasmine can usually be found at the Arabian coast in the same park. Jasmine also makes a cameo appearance during the finale of Once Upon a Time at Tokyo Disneyland. She and Aladdin also appear on the Aladdin-themed floats in the Happiness is Here parade and Tokyo Disneyland Electrical Parade Dreamlights. Next park, Disneyland Paris. In Adventureland, Jasmine appears in both the Prince Ali-inspired window and the final window featured in the walkthrough attraction Le Passage Encanté de Aladdin. Next park, Hong Kong Disneyland. Jasmine appears during Genie's segment in Mickey and the Wondrous Book, as well as the Castle Show Disney in the Stars as the lead character of the A Whole New World segment. Next park, Shanghai Disneyland. In the park, Jasmine appears alongside Aladdin in the Golden Fairy Tale Fanfare Show in front of the Enchanted Storybook Castle. She also appears alongside Raja in one of the castle wall carvings displays. She also makes a cameo appearance towards the end of Voyage to the Crystal Grotto. Next character is Jafar. Let's start off at Walt Disney World. In Disney's Hollywood Studios version of Fantasmic, Jafar is summoned by the evil queen when she plots to destroy Mickey Mouse and take over Disney. In the show, Jafar turns into his snake form in an attempt to eat Mickey. When the villains get the upper hand, Jafar becomes a genie. Soon Mickey saves the day and Jafar is killed off along with everyone else. In Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom, Jafar appears in Adventureland and is released from his lamp by Hades to be recruited to help find the Crystal of the Magic Kingdom. Secretly, however, Jafar plans on stealing back his lamp from Hades so that he can wish him free and may answer to no one and trap Hades in the Cave of Wonders. Jafar uses a diamond ring from Iago to locate the crystal. Before he can retrieve it, Merlin the wizard interferes. Hades orders Jafar to eliminate Merlin, but the villain himself finds Merlin to be elusive. Jafar meets the heroic park guests set to abolish Hades' plans. Jafar sends a snake to battle the guests. While the guests were in battle, Jafar managed to kidnap Merlin and imprison him in a lamp. Together, Genie and the guests travel to the Cave of Wonders, where Jafar and the crystal are found. A battle follows, ending with Jafar being sucked back into his lamp by Merlin. Jafar, like a genie, is summoned by Hades at the final battle against the park guests. However, when the villains meet their defeat, Jafar and the others were all sucked into Merlin's crystal of the Magic Kingdom. In the Halloween stage show at Magic Kingdom Hocus Pocus Villain Spelltacular, Jafar is one of the frightful friends Maleficent conjures to help the Sanderson sisters with their party potion. During the finale of the show, Jafar and the others join the sisters in singing I Put a Spell on You. In Happily Ever After, Jafar briefly appears in his snake form, seen battling Aladdin. Next park, Tokyo Disney Resort. In Starlight Dreams, Jafar was one of the villains that joined in the attack on Mickey Mouse and friends. Like the other villains, Jafar was only seen through water projectors. Next park, Disneyland Paris. In France, Jafar has made numerous appearances in shows centering Disney villains, such as Disney's Maleficent Halloween Party. In Adventureland, he appears as a snake and a genie in the final windows of the walkthrough attraction Le Passage Encanté de Aladdin. He also appears as his normal self in the Prince Ali-inspired part of the attraction. Next park, Hong Kong Disneyland. Jafar can be seen turning into a genie during the final scene of the Nightmare Experiment. Next up, the Disney Cruise Line. Aboard the Disney Magic and Disney Dream cruise ships, Jafar makes an appearance at the very end of Villains Tonight during Hot Talk, a spoof on popular talk shows. Here, Iago was interviewed to speak his mind about Jafar. After a series of disrespectful comments, Jafar appears but reveals to Iago that deep down he still cares him as his best friend. Jafar is lastly seen during the finale song Villains Tonight. On the Disney Fantasy, Jafar is one of the villain suspects in the attraction Midship Detective Agency and is sometimes the culprit. Next character is Genie. We'll go back to Disneyland. Genie appears in the Water Spectacular in World of Color at Disney California Adventure. In the middle of the show, following Aladdin and Jasmine, he sings Friend Like Me in dazzling light and water sparks. He also appeared as a puppet in the pre-show Carnival of Color. The puppet was later reused in the Paint the Night Parade along with Tigger and Lumiere. Genie is also featured in the Aladdin window display at Disneyland's Main Street, USA. In Disneyland's Fantasmic, Genie has his own scene singing A Friend Like Me to Sorcerer Mickey. He shapeshifts into Donald Duck, Goofy, and even transforms Mickey into Pinocchio as an homage to the Pinocchio theme scene that originally occupied that part of the show before its 2017 update. Next park, Walt Disney World. Genie appears in Disney's Hollywood Studios version of Fantasmic during the bubble sequence where he dances to Friend Like Me. In Spectral Magic, Genie appeared in the band unit of the parade conducting Goofy, Chip and Dale, and the Golden Harp. Genie's part was initially taken on by Roger Rabbit, but issues with Amblin led to Roger's replacement. Genie is also an unofficial mascot of Disney Quest. Upon entering at ground level, one is brought up by an elevator up to the center of the third floor where one's visit begins. He is also heard on the end of day closing announcements. When a game or attraction is down, a sign reading "The Genie has spotted a technical problem" is displayed. In Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom, Genie guides the park guests during their quest to defeat Jafar in Adventureland. Genie also assists the guests in the final battle, but is tied to a chair and gagged by Jafar's magic. After Jafar is defeated, Genie is freed and rejoices in the defeat of his foe alongside Merlin. In Star Tours, the adventures continue. Genie makes a cameo on the luggage scanner run by G29T. Other Disney characters and droids are also being smuggled onto the Star Speeders. Genie can also be seen in a poster in the Keek area of Mickey's Filler Magic. For meet and greets, he can sometimes be found with Aladdin and Jasmine in Adventureland. Next park, Tokyo Disney Resort. In the Tokyo Disney Sea version of Fantasmic, Genie gets a full sequence based on Friend Like Me. At this 3D film and live-action hybrid show, the Magic Lamp Theater at Tokyo Disney Sea, Genie has come into the service of the magician Shaban, but he and his lamp are locked away when Shaban grows jealous of his power. Now the magician's apprentice Azim, who actually found the lamp in the first place, seeks to release Genie and give the audience a real magic show. Genie also appeared in the show Springtime Surprise, performed at Arabian Coast, and is a centerpiece of a topiary of himself holding Duffy in his hand, located near the entrance to the Port of Call. His likeness can also be found in the same park, some of which have him appearing as other Disney characters such as Ariel from The Little Mermaid. The current version of the Tokyo Disney Electrical Parade Dream Lights includes the Genie Float. LED lights on the Genie's skin change into various Disney characters, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Tigger, and so on. Next park, Disneyland Paris. At the Walt Disney Studios Park, Genie appears in Mickey and the Magician, where he is summoned from the lamp by the show's titular star and performs a Broadway-inspired rendition of Friend Like Me. In Adventureland, models of Genie are featured throughout the walk-through attraction Le Passage Enchanté d'Aladdin. Next park, Hong Kong Disneyland. Genie appears in Mickey and the Wondrous Book in Storybook Theater. After he performs Friend Like Me, he tells the guests that a genie's life is like all wishes and no play. Suddenly, he hears a trumpet playing on the next page of the Wondrous Book, and he feels a blast. He then tells Mickey to follow the music beyond the Cave of Wonders. In Shanghai, Genie is featured on a float during Mickey's Storybook Express Parade. He also appears as the centerpiece of the Aladdin display in Voyage to the Crystal Grotto. Genie also stars in his own segment during Ignite the Dream, performing Friend Like Me after being released from the lamp by Mickey Mouse. On the Disney Cruise Line in Disney Believe, Genie is the lead character and the leader of the magic makers that help a practical father believe in magic. Genie first appears inside the father's home and informs him about the journey he's about to venture on. In the end, Genie and the Magic Maker celebrate the father's new imagination. Next character is Iago. We'll start off at Walt Disney World. Iago makes a cameo appearance in Mickey's Filler Magic. After Aladdin and Jasmine's A Whole New World song, Jasmine gives the sorcerer hat back to Donald. But before Donald can return home, Iago knocks the hat off his head and laughs as Donald leaps after it before returning to the musical whirlwind. Iago plays a special role in Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. In Adventureland, Iago and Jafar are recruited by Hades to find a legendary crystal in a plot to take over Magic Kingdom. Iago is first seen snarling at Merlin in the Pirates of the Caribbean attraction. Later on, Iago is ordered to use the Sultan's powerful mystic blue diamond ring to uncover the whereabouts of the crystal. Before Iago can return to Jafar, the park guests eavesdrop on Iago, learning the location of the crystal. Iago then uses magic to battle the guests but is defeated. However, he regains his strength and returns to Jafar. At a later point, Iago heads off to steal Jafar's lamp back from Hades so that Jafar will no longer have a master to answer to. He is last seen in the final battle where he nearly gets zapped by Merlin's magic. At Disney's Hollywood Studios, Iago was among the villains featured in Wonderful World of Animation. Next park, Disneyland Paris. In Adventureland, Iago makes a sole appearance in the walkthrough attraction Le Passage Enchanté de Aladdin, seen being pulled into the lamp along with Jafar as a genie. Next part, Hong Kong Disneyland. Iago appeared as a puppet during the Halloween mini parade Villains Night Out, accompanying Jafar's float. On the Disney Cruise Line, Iago appears in Villains Tonight aboard the Disney Dream Ship, where he and Jafar are guests on Hot Talk. While Iago was initially on the show to voice his disgust for Jafar and working as the sorcerer's abused lackey, it soon becomes an evening of reconciling once Jafar arrives in an attempt to mend their broken friendship, proclaiming their villainous fondness for one another, much to Hades' dismay. Iago was also featured in the Enchanted Tiki Room. Along with Zazu, he appeared in the Enchanted Tiki Room under new management at Magic Kingdom, where they both were the new owners of the Tiki Room. He tells the original Tiki Birds that he and Zazu are big shot movie stars and is annoyed when Zazu warns him about the Tiki gods. Iago does not care and insults the gods, causing Ioa, the Tiki goddess of disaster, to rise up in the center of the theater and punish Iago for his foolishness. Iago is apparently killed off, leaving Zazu in charge. Iago then reappears at the end of the show, bandaged and carrying a crutch, having reformed and developed a newfound respect for the Tiki gods, allowing the room's inhabitants to keep their show as it was. In January of 2011, the entire show was ruined when a fire broke out in the building's attic, causing permanent damage to one of the two Iago animatronics and leaving the attraction closed. The damaged Iago figure was marked as too expensive to replace, leading to the decision to discontinue the unpopular Eisner era under new development show and restore the Tiki Room to its original show. And finally, the last character we can see is Abu. Let's start off at Disneyland. An animatronic Abu can be seen before Aladdin's float in Mickey's Sensational Parade. Abu can also be seen in the Aladdin Enchanted Window display on Main Street, USA. At Walt Disney World, Abu appears in the live nighttime spectacular Fantasmic in Disney's Hollywood Studios. Abu makes a notable appearance at the end of Tokyo Disney Sea's version of Fantasmic. In the same park, Abu can be found for meet and greets at the Arabian coast. In Tokyo Disneyland's Happiness is Here parade, Abu's elephant form serves as a float. At Disneyland Paris in Adventureland, Abu appears as both a monkey and an elephant in the walkthrough attraction Le Passage Enchanté de Aladdin. And finally, at Shanghai Disneyland, Abu is one of the characters set to be part of Garden of the 12 Friends at Shanghai Disneyland, representing the Chinese zodiac symbol of the monkey. A statue of Abu is additionally displayed in Aladdin's scene in Voyage to the Crystal Grotto. Abu is also represented along the wall of horseshoes in the Pirates of the Caribbean Battle for the Sunken Treasure Keek. Abu's inclusion references his brief transformation into a horse during the movie. And there you have it, all the facts about Aladdin. If you like this video, please hit that like button and don't forget to leave a comment down below and subscribe. And I hope you have a zippity-doo-dah day. Goodbye.